2025. We're going to do the show early because I got another program tonight at 7 o'clock. That one's live also, right?
It is.
Where's that going to be found?
You can find it on our channels and his YouTube and Facebook channel.
It'll be on all our channels. Just look on drdino.com. Anyway, Veterans Day, World War II. One of the main causes of that war was the theory of evolution. Charlie Darwin helped start World War II. You say, oh, that's crazy. Oh, just slept for a second. We're on a bunch of channels. We're on Facebook, over 200,000 now, thank you. On Rumble, let's see, on X, on our own app, KenHovind.tv, on Instagram, TikTok. If they're going to shut us off eventually, so sign up for all of them, okay? Now, let's see, November 11th. No, I've got to move that. There we go. Veterans Day today. Got it. And then come join us for Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks. We're going to have that. And then Christmas will be your family if you don't have family. I want to go to slide number 559. Veterans Day 2025. Veterans Day. We honor the veterans who fought and died and sacrificed so we can have freedom, okay? My dad was a Marine, World War II, sergeant in the Marines. He was in the early days of radar. Their job was to when they took an island from the Japanese, get in there and set up a radar base right away. They were the ones the enemy wanted to kill right away, and so he's the only survivor of his platoon by the end of the war. Sergeant Marines, Robert Hovind, okay? Okay, why did they believe they were a superior race? Why did they start this war anyway? Well, yeah, many Japanese people, particularly with the military and political elite during the 30s and 40s, believed they were a superior race. Well, that's the title of Darwin's book, The Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection or the Preservation of Favored Races. The Japanese thought they were a favored race. This belief was rooted in the concept called Yamato race, a term associated with the dominant ethnic group in Japan and linked to the divine descent of the emperor from the sun god. Oh, the emperor came from the sun god, yeah. This ideology was promoted through state-sponsored education and the Shinto religion. Let's see, they said they were Japanese people's unique spiritual and cultural purity, portraying them as having a divine mission to lead Asia. Japanese leaders often described their nation as invincible and justified imperial expansion as a grand mission to spread the imperial way. In other words, take over everybody else's property, okay? While the Japanese racial ideology was less formally codified than the scientific Nazi racial theory, it was still I covered the Nazism a lot on my video number 5, The Dangers of Evolution. It also was motivated by stupid idea of evolution. Hitler, Mussolini, all strongly motivated by the belief in evolution. Okay. It was virulent and led to the dehumanization of non-Japanese people. So when they took over China, they killed 17 million people. Just killed them. Why? Well, they're not the superior race. No. Koreans, other Asian groups, Japanese propaganda frequently depicted these populations as backward, lazy, subhuman. Just Google it. Let's see what you have to Google. Did the Japanese believe they were a superior race? This is what comes up, okay? They committed atrocities during the war. Some Japanese leaders explicitly claim racial superiority. With politician, whatever you pronounce that name, said that Japan's pure-blooded lineage and divine heritage give it a duty to control others. Oh. Despite the internal belief in superiority, Japan faced a contradiction when allied with Nazi Germany, whose ideology placed non-Aryans, including the Japanese, in an inferior position. To reconcile this, Hitler officially designated the Japanese as honorary Aryans. Can you believe that? Stupid. To placate the Japanese allies, though he privately viewed them as inferior barbarians. This diplomatic gesture allowed Japan to maintain its sense of racial dignity while preserving the alliance, even though both regimes ultimately saw each other as racially inferior in their private view. Yes, many Japanese people during World War II believed they were a superior race. The Yamato race. Did the evolution theory influence Japan before World War II? Yes. Evolutionary theory, particularly social Darwinism, significantly influenced Japan before World War II. During the Meiji, whatever you pronounce that era, Darwin's ideas were quickly adapted into Japanese intellectual and political discourse. While professional biologists initially paid limited attention to evolutionary theory, its social and political interpretations gained traction. Social Darwinism, which applied the concept of survival of the fittest to nations and races, was embraced by influential thinkers like Kato Hiroyuki, who argued that national strength and state power should be prioritized. Japanese government promoted the idea that the Yamato people had a divine mission. You can read this for yourself. I'm just telling you, the Japanese thinking was strongly influenced by the stupid religion of evolution, and evolution's a religion. Hitler, influenced by that same stupid religion. My dad risked his life and lost all of his friends over there, his whole platoon, because of this crazy religion of evolution. Did Japanese schools teach evolution before? Yes. They taught racial superiority. Began to incorporate racial classifications. But these were adopted to position Japan favorably. With a reconstructed global hierarchy, by the third decade, textbooks explicitly stated that the Japanese were Mongolians and instilled in students a sense of national superiority, often placing Japan at the top of the Mongolian race, with Japan later being emphasized as superior even within that group. Charles Darwin's works, particularly The Origin of Species, were introduced to Japan in the late 19th century and gained significant popularity, especially through the efforts of American zoologist Edward Sylvester Morse, who lectured on Darwinism at University of Tokyo starting in 1877. His lectures were instrumental in making Darwinism fashionable among Japanese public and intellectual circles. Many Japanese readily accepting evolutionary theory due to the absence of strong religious opposition like Christianity. The theory, particularly in the form influenced of Herbert Spencer, we covered that on video number 5, seminar part 5, became extremely popular in Japan at the turn of the 20th century, shaping national ideology and contributing to the modernization of the country. I'm not going to read a bunch of more. I'm just going to show you real quickly the foundation of this. The intellectual reception was further solidified by the translation and publication of Darwin's works into Japanese, including The Descent of Man, The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals. Historians have noted that Darwinian evolutionary theory is considered one of the most important contributions to human thought in general, a belief widely accepted in Japan. And I got people I debate, Joseph. They say evolution is the most important scientific theory there is. Evolution is stupid. It's a religion. It's not science at all. Okay, get over it. Okay. But if you disagree, call for a debate, please. Joseph, haven't had a debate in a long time. I'm getting lonely. Okay. Before World War II, evolutionary ideas, let's see, I did all that. They have a right to occupy territories inhabited by people who are less evolved. This ideology was evident in diplomatic communication. Let's see. Japan and Italy shared an identity of ideas based on the belief that overpopulation necessitated territorial expansion. We've got more people than we should have. They're crowded. Let's take over the neighbors. Okay. The rhetoric was used to rationalize Japan's conquest of Korea, China, Indochina, Pacific Islands, portraying these actions as necessary for the evolutionary advancement of the conquered populations. All three of these leaders, Japan, Italy, Germany, thought they were helping to speed up the process of evolution by eliminating inferiors by the millions. Just lined them up and killed them. Origin of Species, by means of natural selection, or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life, by Charles Darwin. I suppose the reason we leapt at Origin of the Species was the idea of God interfered with our sexual mores. See, the Germans thought they were the superior race. The German Führer consistently sought to make the practice of Germany conform to the theory of evolution. Arthur Keith, who's a strong believer in evolution. German philosopher Erich Fromm, if Hitler believed in anything at all, then it was the laws of evolution, which justified and sanctified his actions and especially his cruelties. If it were possible to form a state of an army exclusively of homosexuals, this is Hitler speaking, those men would direct all their emulations toward honors. Going into battle with such a spirit would, even if their numbers were small, conquer the world. 10% of the men in 1933 took the fate of Germany in their hands were sexually normal, only 10%. Why did Stalin order the execution of 14,700 Polish officers, prisoners of war? Just kill them all, okay? Hitler ordered the execution of 6 million Jews. Pol Pot, execution of 1 million of his fellow Cambodians. Australia, they treated the Aborigines like they were animals. They said they're animals. Kip Kinkle did a school shooting, said if there was a God, he wouldn't let me feel the way I do. There is no God, only hate. Listen, we're teaching evolution in our public schools and wondering why there's all these school shootings. I think there's a strong connection. 1998, 15-year-old Kip Kinkle, student at Thurston High School, entered the school cafeteria, fired 50 rounds from a semi-automatic rifle. 26 students were injured, 2 were killed. Later, the bodies of his parents were found in his home. He was arrested, taken to police headquarters where he attempted to murder a detective. Right after the Columbine shooting, almost instantaneously, 5 more students from the Springfield School District were arrested for threatening to murder students, principals, and teachers. In the adjacent school districts, more students were arrested for violent threats. An elementary school boy shot 5 of his classmates with a BB gun while they're playing in the schoolyard. Huh. Well, when I went to school, we didn't have this kind of stuff. He was isolated from other students and gone into minor kid-type difficulties once in a while. There was no indication during the school years he had a severe mental or behavioral problem. I've known him since middle school. Anyway, both of his parents were teachers within the school district. They were the all-American family who lived in an upscale home in rural subdivision of lovely homes. The parents were praised by every neighbor, friend, and fellow employee. There's no disclosure why Kip Kinkle murdered his parents, 2 students, and 26 schoolmates, shot him. Well, there is, yeah. If there was a God, he wouldn't let me feel the way I do. You taught him evolution. You taught him there's no God. You wonder, you molded this kid into being a mass murderer, okay? Why have violent crimes increased 1,000% since I was a boy in my lifetime? 1,000%. Maybe the evolution teaching explains the why. Death tolls during World War II in the Pacific. Look, type in Holocaust Encyclopedia. Japan's death during World War II totaled as many as 3 million. 2 million of these deaths were soldiers. As many as 20 million Chinese people were killed during the war. Most of them civilians, just murdered them. 250,000 Americans were wounded in the Pacific. 100,000 U.S. servicemen died fighting Japan. My dad, only survivor of his platoon. The Sino-Japanese War was one of the most destructive conflicts of World War II. It began with Marco Polo Bridge incident in 1937, ended with Japan's surrender. The war marked the culmination of growing Japanese aggression toward China since an earlier Sino-Japanese war. With half of China ruined, 20 million Chinese, military and non-military, dead. We think Hitler was bad with the Jews. See what the Japanese did to the Chinese. 480,000 Japanese soldiers killed on Chinese soil. The 8-year conflict, one of the bloodiest in world history. Imperial Japanese Army and the Navy were responsible for war crimes, leading to deaths ranging from sexual slavery and massacres to human experimentation, torture, starvation, and forced labor. How can you do that to another human? We have to think they're subhuman. First, you teach them these people are subhuman. Is it okay to swat a cockroach? Yeah. Why? Oh, they're evil. They're dangerous. Well, they teach that the subhumans are evil. It's okay to swat them. Just studied this topic. It makes me angry when I get into this. 1930s and 40s, the ideas were central to wartime propaganda, reinforcing loyalty to the emperor and necessity of military conquest. We got to take over these other countries. The state promoted the Yamato race as superior, using pseudo-scientific racial theories rooted in distorted interpretations of evolution. It's not a distorted interpretation. That is what the theory teaches. Colonize their country. A very major cause of World War II was the stupid idea the Japanese had been taught and the Germans that they were a superior race. And they had evolved further, and it was best for humanity to eliminate the inferior races. So thanks, Dad, for fighting against that stupid religion. I'll keep it up. All right, folks, short program. We got another program tonight at 7 o'clock. Come visit Dinosaur Adventureland. We believe the Bible is true and evolution is the dumbest and most dangerous religion in the world. Disagree? Call in. Debate me on it. All right. See you tonight. So, do you like that, Joe? What do you think? My patriotic Hawaiian shirt. Even got Statue of Liberty on there. Yeah. All right. See you tomorrow. Bye.